everyone and welcome back to my channel. So you must have all learned the various tricks with which you can see what your handwriting reveals about your personality. But in today's video, I'm going to talk about a really very important topic, that is hope. Yes. Now, in the further few videos, we are going to talk about some of the various concepts of positive psychology and how we can identify those traits through our handwriting. So the first concept that I'm taking up today is that of hope. But before beginning with that, let's see what positive psychology is. So the branch of positive psychology is one of those fields of psychology which tells about the relevance of human values, how a person finds meaning to his or her own life. And that is why Charles Snyder, has said that positive psychology is that scientific study of human flourishing and an applied approach to the optimal functioning. That means how the human beings derive meaning and values out of their existence and how do they apply it for their everyday existence. There are various potential benefits of applying the concepts of positive psychology into the real life. Some of them being that a person is able to look at life and has an increased self-esteem so that their confidence in their own abilities, in their own skills doesn't really waver. Also, it helps you to build improved and better relationships and a greater positive outlook on life. So now that we are in a situation where everything is going negative, everything seems to be disheartening, this concept of today's video is going to tell you a lot about the concept of hope. So let's move ahead and look at what is hope. So in the words of Charles Snyder, a rainbow is a prism that sends shards of multicolored light in the various directions. In the same way, it lifts our spirits and makes us think of what is possible. And he has this analogy with hope, which is the same as the personal rainbow of the mind. So just like a prism spreads colors in all its directions, in the same manner, hope is something which enlightens the brain and makes it more beautiful and colorful. So now, first of all, we are going to talk about the theory of hope given by Snyder. But before that, I would just like to tell you some more things about hope, that it is undoubtedly a concept which is very subjective in nature. But we cannot ignore the fact that whenever there is a difficult situation, everyone asks us not to lose hope. People often speak about hope as something which strengthens their resolve to achieve something. Accompanied by the darkest hour in their lives, people haven't lost hope. Hope helps us remain committed to a goal and therefore motivates us to action to implement that goal and achieve our targets. Hope also gives people a reason to continue fighting and believing that their current circumstances will improve despite the unpredictable nature of the human existence. So now let's look at the theory of Snyder, which is the hope theory, which consists of a fact that hope is a life-sustaining human strength. That is, it is the very essence of the human existence. So, it's the capacity through which people reach towards their goal. It consists of three thinking patterns. The first one is the goals thinking. So, the goals thinking is that the clear conceptualization of the valuable goals. So a person has conceptualized, has written down all their goals that they want to achieve in their life and they're hopeful of achieving them. The second one is the pathways thinking. The pathways thinking refers to the capacity to develop specific strategies or the ways how you're going to implement certain actions in order to achieve that goal. And finally, there is the agency thinking. That means you're looking up for different resources, for different motivation and external ways through which you're going to strategize how you are going to achieve your goals. So moving further with it, there are different types of hope as well as we talk about. So hope is a concept that doesn't really fade away in the cases of adversity. In fact, historically, if we see, hope has endured people over time, even in the situation of war, poverty, and famine. So this hope fosters an orientation to life that allows the people to remain grounded. So let's look at what are the various types of hope that people might have. The first one is the realistic hope. Now, as the name suggests, the realistic hope is the outcome that is reasonable or probable to occur. So I'll give you an example of the realistic hope. In that sense, if you see that a person has a chronic illness, now the realistic goal or realistic hope for that person will be that some of their pain will reduce. That means there'll be a small reduction in their pain. However, the complete eradication of the disease might turn out to be an unrealistic hope or unrealistic goal for them. So what's probable is that some of the symptoms, pain can reduce, some of the symptoms can get better. And that this kind of hope when you have is called the realistic hope. The second kind of hope is the utopian hope. So the utopian hope says that it critically negates the present. So for example, a movement is happening around you and a political party is coming, the politician is coming and telling you that things will be better in the future. That's the kind of utopian hope that somebody gives, that the things which are happening in the present are going to be negated and there is something positive to be coming in the future. Similarly, if somebody is giving you hope that if you study in the present moment, probably there are chances that you get good marks in your exam. That is the kind of utopian hope that they are giving you about the future. Now, next we are going to look at the benefits of hope. There are various benefits of hope and there have been various researches that have been done. So first of all, one benefit of hope, and the research also claims that, is that it significantly correlates with superior academic as well as athletic performance and greater physical and psychological well-being as well. Then, hope has the potential to enhance one's well-being over time, and it has found that the people who are more hopeful and expect of achieving things which are better, things which have big goals, they are more likely to achieve it in the state of well-being as well. Similarly, people who are more hopeful are likely to consider and view the stressful situations as challenging rather than threatening, and they try to come out of those situations and accept it as a challenge. Hope is also a protective feature which protects you against the development of chronic anxiety. So when a person has a lot of negative thoughts about future, what's going to happen in the future, which is uncertain, hope acts as a protective barrier and saves them from the chronic anxiety. Next is that it is a motivational factor. So hope is a motivational factor that helps you to initiate and come into action towards the long-term goals that you have set. Then again, hope is something which is positively correlated to a person's life satisfaction as well. So the research claims that people who are more hopeful also score good in the life satisfaction score. And therefore, hope motivates the individuals to maintain their positive involvement in the life. And that is how important having hope in one's life is. Next, we'll move on to, is hope same as optimism? Now, this is a big question and needs to be answered, although people use it synonymously, that you should be hopeful, you should look to life as a positive thing, you should find positivity in everything, and therefore you should be optimistic. But there's a slight difference that lies between having hope, that is being hopeful, and being optimistic. What it is. Although it's common, both are concerned with the positive orientation of the future. However, the difference is that optimism is a positive attitude about the future event, which is probable or likely to occur. However, the optimistic person expects that the life will be good. The hopeful person is more realistic about what goals they set so that the life becomes good. And similarly, hopeful is regarded as being more realistic. The hopeful individual recognizes that life may not work as planned, yet maintains that positive attitude towards life and directs their energy towards the positive outcomes. And that is the very difference between a hopeful person and an optimistic person. However, there are some pitfalls to being hopeful as well, and we are going to see these negative effects of being very hopeful or unrealistically hopeful. There have been various researches which criticizes that there are dangers of having false hope or giving false hopes to oneself as well. So despite a lot of failures, if a person continues to give himself or herself a lot of hopeful thoughts for the things they have not been able to do for themselves or achieve, then that is an attempt of them to change some of their own self. That results into a cycle of failure, which is characterized by the unrealistic expectations about the speed of something, the amount they are putting into it, the ease, and the consequences of the self change. And therefore, it's important that many experiences and emotions that we have after the fear or the failure, they should not come up as false hopes to oneself. Rather, there should be more realistic short-term goals that should be set rather than giving false hopes to oneself. So now you have seen how the benefits of hope are, how hope helps us in life sustenance. Now, we will relate this concept to graphology as well as to how you can identify by looking into somebody's handwriting whether they are hopeful in life or they give themselves false hopes. So let's have a look at this. Hopefulness in handwriting can be identified through the small letter L. Yes. Now we are going to see how this happens if a person is writing a sentence, for example, hopeful only. Okay. And another person is writing the word hopeful in this manner. Who do you think would be more hopeful in life? Okay, I'll give you the answer. Look at the letter L. The letter L in the first situation is a constricted letter L where the loop is too small or constricted. However, in the second case, the L is quite large, that is, the loop in the letter L is quite big. So the people who have this second kind of a loop in their letter L, these are the people who have more hope in life. They have more hope in life refers to that they look at the different things in a way and they are hopeful that the future outcomes will be positive. Realistically positive, something that in short term they can actually achieve. So for example, if this person has some kind of chronic illness, they'll probably regard that they are hopeful of some of the symptoms reducing in the future, rather than this person who will generally become hopeless that nothing else can happen. So what's the point of doing exercise, having healthy habits, because nothing can be done now. So they are less hopeful towards things. Now we are going to see how people give themselves false hopes, or they enter into the self-deceit because of the things they have not been able to achieve or do for themselves. For this, to identify in the handwriting, look at the letter O, the small letter O. Now, if you notice the letter O and somebody has a left loop in it, you see, I'm writing the word hope and the person makes a left loop. What normally we do is that we make a right loop, but there are people who make letter O and their loop is going in the left direction. If that is the case, then these people have a tendency to give themselves false hope. That is because of the things they have not been able to do for themselves or for the others around them. Opposite to that, if your letter O is completely plain with no internal loop in it, then these people are very honest. So they don't try to give themselves false hope. But beware of those traits in a person's handwriting where they have a loop which is going towards the left. And therefore, this trait should not be there, because that will not help you to lead a positive and a hopeful life. Because you'll always try to give and fool yourself with the different excuses, and you'll never be able to become hopeful. So these are the different ways by which you can actually identify the false hopes and the traits of hopefulness in a person's handwriting, whether they're high on hopefulness or low on hopefulness. So this was all for today's video. That is how we discussed about the positive psychology concept, one of these concepts being hope, the benefits of it, and the hope theory as well. I hope you liked the video. Again, the word hope, yes. So I hope that you liked the video, and you must have subscribed to my channel as well. See you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.